Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming here after a good lunch. So the morning I was able to button up my jacket, but now I did really have a good lunch. So more AI coming your way. Uh, I know sometimes exciting, sometimes boring, but I'll tell you what I have in store for you. We've been seeing cool AI demos. Every vendor out there is talking about elevated productivity, simplicity, and all of that. But one major thing that we come across when we talk to our customers is AI doesn't seem to work for me. Right? We have seen a lot of customer deployments. We have seen for people to whom our AI features delivered value, for people to whom our AI features didn't deliver value. In fact, we are a company, we run on Zoho. We are an 18,000 people company. We work across geographies. There are certain things that work for us, certain things that are just beautiful, showcased features. Right? So today's session is to, like, if you are leveraging an AI strategy, what all should you do? Right? Where do you get started? Where do you make your first move? What do you have to have? I mean, everybody touched upon it a little bit. Sachin spoke about being digitally mature is the first step to achieving AI maturity. Then Suvish showed you some really cool demos. Now, my job today is to, again, cut out the hype, tell you from customers who have successfully executed AI to what Zoho is doing and how our strategy is unique. So I lead the AI research for Zoho. So I work at 30,000 feet below the products that you could see. And our reading of the industry and where do we see this going from here. Once again, thank you for coming here after a good lunch. So let's get started. Right? So very simple. How should you act? What have we done to help you act? OK. So these are the typical departments in your organization, right? And the way SaaS evolved, we started individual companies catering to individual departments. And there is a vendor for sales and marketing, there is a vendor for finance, there is a vendor for facilities management, and these vendors hardly talk to each other. Just because these vendors don't talk to each other, these departments don't talk to each other. Now, given these are the departments in your organization, how has AI touched upon each of these departments? That is what we will get started with. Let's look at sales and marketing. Of course, this is one of the most heavily AI-invested areas because it's your profit center. Everybody wants to sell more. Everybody wants to get a good brand visibility. So sales and marketing got the first share of AI. Of course, a lot of this is also dominated by industry analysts. For example, whenever there is a magic quadrant, people rush to complete those features. Or an industry leader, a big name in the industry, taking a lead and then pushing other competitors to do that. So sales and marketing has been one such field where naturally you could sell more. What all do you do to sell more? OK, there is a new high-value lead that has come into my system. What are the other similar leads that I've closed? What are the other similar leads that I have lost? And is there something can I learn from all my winnings and losses in the past set of deals? OK, now I have set a 100,000 pound target for this quarter. I am 1 month into the quarter. And at this rate, you might not be able to achieve it. And can you know that beforehand? And typically, you get so much sales in this month of August. But maybe at this rate, you will not meet it. Maybe there is an anomaly. So you see anomaly, forecasting, looking at all the structured information in your data, looking at unstructured information that could be, let's say, we have a sales coach in our CRM, where you get all the call transcripts, and then you could ask questions on what is the most asked feature in the last month. Because things evolve so fast, right? So all of a sudden, you have a new regulation coming in. All of a sudden, there is a change in the way we do business, right? These things keep happening. And then you could log all your sales calls. We call it Sales Coach. It works with Zoho Voice. And the audio clip comes to your CRM system. And then how do you make it actionable? You could go ask questions on top of it. right? So now this is your modern day LLM works really well with unstructured information as well. Your traditional ML, this is where we started 11 years back. We started with statistical anomaly detection, with forecasting. And then it evolved to semi-structured information, where you look at meta information, fetch information from other parts of your system, and then build some insights out of it. And now, in the LLM age, we are doing unstructured information, where you look at voice transcripts, you look at meeting recordings. You look at so much of information out there, and think of an LLM as a powerful summarizer. All it can do is summarize from somewhere. So summarize from all your systems and show you how to sell more. So these are the use cases that we see in really successful sales and marketing deployments. Of course, the next best thing is, OK, you've acquired customers. Now, how do you make sure your customer service is good? And can we have a show of hands where, has any one of you ever got a good customer service from an AI bot? No, right? Oh, wow, there's one person there. That's, I think, maybe, I don't know, 80 people in the room. So you see the numbers. The idea is, the way we see, I mean, you don't want Zoho to have an AI customer bot answering your questions. And frankly, I use the bot to make sure what is the fastest way to get to a human behind the line. But think of a use case like this, where you have a garage. In fact, this is from one of our customers in India. They run an auto garage, and they are on top of Zoho 1. The moment a chat support, somebody comes in through a chat support, the moment they get connected, the human agent on the other side of the chat window gets a summary of who they are. And how is this possible? It's by pulling in information from the CRM on, OK, this is so-and-so person, they drive so-and-so car, this was the year of purchase, this was how the deal went through, this was their last service record, and these are the parts that were changed. Now, ideally, a customer support agent would do that, right? We're all frustrated by repeating ourselves to multiple human customer support agents. I have to be very careful when I use the word agent. So it's human agents here. So when the AI engine can give you a summary of who you are, the moment you end up in support, the customer service agent, the human agent, is very happy. And then you say that you have, let's say, you got your wiper blade replaced in your last service, and you say you have issues with it. And immediately, the system also looks up, have there been any similar complaints that came out of the part number that was replaced? And you see that there are 6 other complaints for whom warranty has been approved. Warranty replacement has been approved. So ideally, in today's world or in yesterday's world, the customer support agent would talk to their manager, would get an in-principle approval, which means putting the customer on hold for the next 3, 4, 5 minutes. So now this happens immediately. And once that happens, a window shows up to the customer where they see the inventory. We know their zip code. And OK, there are 3 locations in about 20 kilometers radius from your house. Do you want to fix an appointment? And right from there, you hit the click appointment button, and your appointment is scheduled. So this is possible because of interconnected systems. Look at the whole employee experience story here. Your human customer support agent does not face the wrath of an angry customer because they've got all information summarized to them. Again, you see that this LLM acts as a huge summarization engine with all the connected data points. The customer goes back happy because they would have expected a 15-minute conversation with a bot trying to hand them over to humans, but it got over in 5 minutes. So these are some successful use cases that we see in the customer service department. Again, in Zoho Desk, our customer support tool, we have use cases like sentiment analysis, intelligent ticket routing, assign it to the right person. I mean, typically we see this, right? There is somebody who reads and assigns this ticket to the next person. Now, let's say that person goes on a tea break, a smoke break, whatever. And the SLA for this ticket is 30 minutes, and 15 minutes are gone there. Then they assign it to somebody, and that person might be on leave. That person might have other high-priority tickets. Imagine having an AI agent do that. The agent can look at my queue and say that I might not be able to solve it in the SLA terms, so move it to the next best human agent who could find that. So this is where we see customer service use cases. Of course, finance. A lot of finance use cases are in document processing. Even though these documents are digitally generated, they flow from one system to the other system in the form of PDFs, in the forms of images. Suvish was talking about Zoho Expense, which I am a heavy user of. And everywhere I go, I just click a photo of the receipt, I just add it to expense, and then it is auto expense, the OCR is done, the category is filled, and so much of information. So ultimately, for me, the traveling employee, filing my expense report becomes much easier because all I have to do is click a picture, upload it to expense, right from my phone's gallery. And for the person who is approving it, right, for the person who is approving it, it knows that for somebody who has come to Zoholics UK, this is going to be the average trend. And then for somebody from the research and development department traveling, this is going to be the average trend. Because we know, I mean, the hotels are booked by the local team in UK here. The Uber is taken care by our corporate Uber, so I don't have to expense it. The flights are booked by my travel desk team. So there are certain expenses which I'm allowed to do depending on my role, depending on my current travel. There are certain expenses which I am not. So it makes it easy for the person who is approving my receipt. So ultimately, there is some productivity that comes into the system where, again, nothing is completely autopilot. It is setting up some guidelines, setting up some rules for you to get started. And then, eventually, it evolves into, you know very well that there are particular salespeople who travel to a particular region, and this is the expense that is usually happening in that particular region. And the moment it is within the limits, it gets auto-approved. Right? Even though in today's cases, everything is dynamically priced, flights, trains, and all that, we have not seen people doing auto-approval. It's more static recommendations, like a meal below 25 pounds is fine. Right? You don't have to have a person vet it. And there are inbuilt systems which could detect alcohol in your receipts. There are inbuilt systems which, for instance, in Zoho's travel policy, an upgrade cannot be expensed. So you want to upgrade your flights, do it with your own card. Don't expense it to the company. Now, such policies which are verbosely written as a policy document are taken care. And I go to a place, there are hotel budgets, again, that is very different. The budget in London is very different from the budget in Birmingham. So all these rules so these are not lying on the head of the person who's approving it, or in a policy document which people just forget about, but your AI assistant actually helps you doing all of that. Then we talk about HR. Again, HR is one place where we don't want AI. It's called human resources for a reason. Use cases like shortlisting candidates for a job are a big no-no. But if you could auto-generate a description, if you could, HRMS, Zoho People has a facial recognition system, again, which is very, very secure, very, very private. It's at the attendance kiosk, the same way you swipe your ID card to get into your office. Just have your face do it. And it has a liveliness detection and all of that. So, and a lot of other use cases that we use in our company is, now let's say, there are so many forms in a company, right? For anything, the moment you cross 500 people, everything is going to be form-driven. There are going to be a lot of creator apps coming in, which is good for creator, but for the employee who is using it, who do I ask? Let's say I want to have myself reimbursed for a headphone that I got, or for a desk that I got to work from home. Who do I ask? Should I raise a ticket with HR? I'm a new employee in the company. Should I awkwardly go ask my manager about it? Or should I ask my colleagues that I have never met before? Should this be the first conversation? I know it's buried somewhere in your organization's document, but can you expose it via a chatbot? So you could ask questions to it. So these are use cases that we see in the HR department. Then IT and operations, again, reiterating about security, reiterating about the whole notion of data privacy within the office is gone, right? I mean, what was sensitive enterprise information was only being accessed from the office computer on the office network in the office premises. Enter the pandemic, everything is democratized. I could access sensitive information from a coffee shop. So can you look at all patterns? Can you identify, is it Ramprakash doing it, or somebody has stolen Ramprakash's credentials, or somebody has stolen Ramprakash's laptop and are trying to mess with the data, right? So look at patterns. Here, in expense, you can define a pattern. But in security, you cannot define a pattern. I mean, how do you define a pattern for all the 18,000 employees? So Ramprakash comes in, logs in between 9:30 and 9:45. You cannot write such rules. Now, you let the AI system look at it, think about it, and then set an individual threshold for each and every employee. The moment there is a change in the threshold, things change. So this is happening in IT and operations. Legal and compliance, again, document summary, use cases like translation, use cases like time stamping and putting it on the blockchain for every party to refer. All of these are in our legal scheme of products. And finally, facilities management. So we have Zoho IoT, a powerful platform. Like Suvish demoed, everything becomes a prompt. There's a ton of machine-generated data there. You could go ask questions and get statistics at your fingertips. So this is the complete graph. Now, there is a reason I put this in a particular order, because we see a lot of adoption in sales and marketing when compared to adoption in facilities management. So facilities management, there are still companies that run facilities management by using WhatsApp. Hey, this conference room is very colder. Can you come and fix this, right? There is no proper ticketing system. There is no, or the building itself is not big to collect data from sensors and do that. So we see much, much bigger AI adoption in sales and marketing when compared to facilities management. And that's the order. And there are certain patterns to this. If you think about it, the profit centers get faster AI adoption when compared to cost centers. Your sales and marketing is more digitized when compared to, say, legal and compliance, right? So more digitally mature departments that reaped digital transformation earlier are seeing AI adoption creep into them and are seeing real values in terms of productivity. Of course, now you have all these departments. Now these departments have to talk to each other. This is where you have your employee experience come in. We spoke about CRM for everyone, where everybody is able to look at a ground truth of a particular deal that is happening, the legal department, the accounts receivable department, the finance department, the salesperson who is working on that deal. Now, you're able to see a single pane of glass, and then you're able to see the ground truth. Of course, there has to be right privacy controls. You don't want to expose every information to everybody in your organization. And then, as an organization, we have to collaborate. We have to work on this presentation. We have to discuss about how do we plan for this particular event, what will be the catering choice, what will be the venue choice, what will be the pricing that we are going to set for the Zoho tickets and all. So all of these need a platform. There is some AI going on to this as well. Again, a lot of summarization is really happening here. And let's say when I'm planning for Zoholics 2026, I could pull in the feedback that I got in Zoholics 2025. Right? Somebody could have said the waiting time in ticket lines. So that would help me in my planning, because all of your data is digitized there. So all this said, have we achieved AI maturity? I mean, all of these are wonderful use cases. All of these have been possible at least for the last 3 years. Right? Ever since 2022, all of these use cases have been possible. Despite all that, have we achieved AI maturity? No, it looks like digital maturity is a moving target. Right? One day, you were good with web apps. And then, all of a sudden, you needed mobile apps. Right? Today, any tool, any B2C, B2B tool that you buy is expected to have working mobile apps in all the platforms. Right? So you are, nobody can say, I've achieved digital maturity. I've done all of these things. I'm a digitally transformed company. I'm a completely digital company. No, this thing keeps evolving. Looks like it is so happening with AI maturity as well. You need to be in a pursuit to keep evolving in terms of AI. So to do that, the first thing that you should do is start off with streamlining your processes, right? Because a lot of times we see people use CRM. People wonderfully use CRM. But then the beautifully configured CRM goes into the hands of a salesperson. And the data entry into the CRM happens like an afterthought, right? They fill a form, they fill a field just because they have to fill it. Now, how can you capture it so intuitively so that for the person who is doing it, it does not look like an afterthought, right? And of course, you need to have the right privacy controls. You need to open it up for audits. A lot of times, these processes cut through departments, right? So for instance, let's say you're onboarding a new employee. There is a talent acquisition group. Then there is a HR group that onboards the employee. Then there is an administrator, the admin department, who has to assign the seats for the employee. There is a system admin who has to get the right set of assets, physical assets, software assets to this person. And then the reporting manager has to be notified. Now look at how well this process, how many departments this process cuts through. Now all of you have to be in sync. You have to work together like a dance so that the employee onboarding happens beautifully. So streamline your processes. If you have siloed processes, if one team does not look at what other team is happening, of course, with the right privacy controls. If you do that, that is a good first step to get value out of your AI system. Okay, now that you've streamlined processes, you have to streamline data, right? AI does not like data in silos. For instance, I am assigning a customer support ticket to somebody. Is that synced to your HRMS system to know that that person is on leave? Is your org structure where I'm reporting to this person, that person reports into that person, is that captured across your processes? Right? You don't have to replicate the data in every place. There's a lot of data duplication. So because, remember the first slide we spoke about how whole SaaS industry is siloed, because these departments don't talk to each other, we've built bridges. I mean, we've built islands. And we need a lot of bridges for these AI tools to work seamlessly. Right? This really helps in better prediction and reducing false positives. And finally, automation. How much of existing rule-based automation have you done? Right? Out of the blue, everything is manual, and then you put a $20 API into it. It's really not going to help. So invest in a lot of existing dumb rule-based automation and capture the complete employee and customer lifecycle. That's a good way to get started. So process streamlining, data streamlining, and automation should be at the top of your mind to start getting value out of your AI systems. So now, I hope you got a good perspective on where to start. Start with the most digitized field. Start with unifying your processes. Start with unifying your data. Invest in existing rule-based automation. That could really help you in getting value out of your existing AI stack, which is available as a part of your whatever software tool that you use today, including Zoho's set of tools. Now, let's take a couple of steps back. Again, you saw a lot of demos on what have we done. But let me look at, I lead the AI research for Zoho. So where do we see this going? I mean, what are the little things that you might not see as a customer, but what are we doing? And I really hope at the end of the presentation you feel confident that you're with the right partner to go ahead riding this AI wave. So you will see a quick demo here. Let me explain what happens. So you did a webinar. Some of the customers have not reached out. So you're doing this on top of Zoho MCP, where you bring tickets from Zoho Desk. And right, you see that one person has not responded to support. So you are scheduling a meeting with Google Calendar. Right? You send the meeting invite, and then you use Slack. You get notified that these are the meetings that are scheduled. Right? And it gives you a beautiful summary. So the demo that you saw is on top of Claude, and it is some company which uses multiple tools, including Zoho CRM, Zoho Desk, Slack, and I think it's going on loop here. You did a webinar, and there are people who didn't follow up. So you set up tickets, and then you set up meeting invites with them using Google Calendar, and then you push it back on Slack. Now, all the demos you so far saw were built on top of Zoho's platform. But we understand the world is big, and so MCP is the new APIs, I would say. MCP is called Model Context Protocol. It's a beautiful way for these agents to communicate with each other. So we recently launched our MCP server so that if you have tools elsewhere, if you work with other ecosystems, we open up Zoho's data, your data, via MCP server so that you could play with other tools in the system. Right? Holding your data hostage does not really work in the AI era. So this is something that we recently launched where exposing your data via MCP is becoming possible. Of course, with Zoho's agents, you will be able to other tools in your other data via MCP again. That is what we recently did. I mean, you will see a lot of Zoho examples, but since this is like a non-Zoho or an outside Zoho example, I particularly wanted to cover in my session. So we recently launched MCP. We're working on doing A2A as well. We'll be supporting all these protocols so that we ensure seamless interplay with, because AI is evolving so fast, we ensure an interplay with all these tools. So let's look deeper into our approach. Of course, there are certain non-negotiables for Zoho to deal with. The first thing is privacy. Your data is your data, and Zoho does not own your data. Same way, Zoho does not train its models on your data. The way we do it is drop a baseline model into your installation, which is trained on publicly available information, and then the model evolves with your data. And that model is only used to do inference on your data and not for your competitor or not for the parent company, Zoho. So this is non-negotiable at all things we do with AI. We never touch customer data. It is your data. The second thing is value. So all of a sudden we see a lot of competitors, subscription price getting doubled, right? You pay $20 for a seat without AI. And then with AI, it's going to be $40. So we don't do that. In fact, we ourselves want to see value with AI, right? You go on Twitter, you go on LinkedIn, it's like, I got 10x productivity with AI. Honestly, I've never seen somebody do that in real life. The best we have got is 20 to 30%, right? So before we launched agents, we deployed them in our legal department. The joke is, anything that goes to legal, it takes at least 2 weeks to at least get a first level response out of them, right? Because legal department is overwhelmed. They're always overloaded. I've never seen a legal department that's not overloaded. So we deployed there. We also deployed it with Zoho Books support to help our customers, because Zoho Books is a unique challenge. Zoho CRM is the same in UK, Zoho CRM is the same in US, same in India, and so on. But Zoho Books is very different in each of these regions. So the volume of support that we get to these products are really high. And we started with things like auto-assigning tickets, with things like finding a potential solution for this from the knowledge base. At best, we monitored metrics like mean time taken to respond, number of tickets closed by a person in a day, total number of tickets closed by the team in a week. Some 12 to 15 overlapping metrics like this. All we saw is a 20 to 30% improvement in productivity, right? That was the best that we could get. Remember, we own our tools. We run it on Zoho Desk. We run it on Zoho Agents. Despite having all that control, there was never a multiple of productivity. So we want to see value with customers. We want to help customers see value. And we don't want to nickel and dime customers, as Shubhash repeated multiple times, especially with AI. It comes with a part of your package. Same way single sign-on, same way enterprise search works seamlessly within your Zoho ecosystem. We want AI to be the same. We don't want you to charge for AI. And of course, we play the long game. I joined the company in 2011. I was the intern who started AI. And here we are. We play the long. I was a single person for the first 4 years. Then 2015, we started building a team around me. Today, we are close to 200 people in the central team, in my team, Zoho Labs, where we offer these AI as solutions to product teams. And each product team has their own AI experts because they know the domain very well. So we work on a hub and spoke model. So we don't get carried away by the fanciness in newer things. So all of a sudden, rename ourselves to Zoho.ai, call this some agentic and so on. Oh, that sounds very bad, sorry. So the long game that we play is always here. So context becomes super important. Truth becomes super important because you are doing AI on your sensitive business information. There's always a ground truth to do. Then privacy, value are our core AI tenets. So let's look at the execution. We are in a very unique position, 900K plus customers, broad range of verticals and countries. We do business everywhere, almost everywhere in the globe. Apps and data that touch a wide range of functions, your customer lifecycle, employee lifecycle, all your operations, your IT department, we have apps that touch across the spectrum. And all of these are vertically integrated as well. They're on the same platform, but then they're also vertically integrated. And like we have seen from morning, the idea of intelligence is not to have a chatbot where you get all the context, type in all the context, and then get a response. It's about seamlessly integrating into your workflows. What is the next best action that you can do at a given point in time, right? And customer escalation has come. What is the next best action that you could do? A high-value lead has signed up. What is the next best action that you could do? You're about to lose a deal. What's the next best action that you could do? You want to write an email following up the summary. We had an internal meeting, your daily stand-up meeting. Can you get the meeting transcript from Zoho meeting? Can you prepare an actionable minutes of the meeting? Right? So next best action at any given point in time is our mantra. Hundreds of such use cases across Zoho. You've seen this slide multiple times since morning, but these are the algorithms that we've built over the years. These are the use cases that we have done. Again, this is not just after LLM, but all the use cases that we've done over the years. And we don't intend to price our AI yet. It is available as a part of your suite. As far as agents goes, we will. It's a part of the early access now. We want customers to see value, and once we see how this evolves, we will decide on agents pricing as we go. Okay, so we launched Zia agents. We see agents as the next evolution. You should have seen this in Suvish's presentation again, but I'm going to go a bit deeper on what we do with or how we have architected agents. So these are the things that you would need for an agent system to run. Let's go look at one by one. So LLMs have become the gateway to agents. We've built an AI bridge that connects these agents to LLMs. Again, on your right-hand side, you see agents or you see LLMs where your data leaves the Zoho ecosystem. So the way this works is you have a contract with OpenAI, you have a contract with Google Vortex. So you go put in your credentials into Zoho's system. That's a contract between you and the model service provider. And Zoho shares your data with them. The next step is Zoho has certain LLMs that are hosted within Zoho's data center. So your data does not leave the Zoho ecosystem. Right? So your Llama, your Mistral, all of these are hosted in Zoho's data center. And your data does not leave the Zoho ecosystem. Zoho spends on the capital expenditure to run these LLMs out there. So then you have data. We saw the MCP demo where you've had multiple apps, including Zoho apps. All of these data becomes available for these agents to perform. And a large percentage of business data resides in semi-structured format, which is email, documents, click messages, instant messages, and so on. Your data platform is also evolving into a data lake house, right? Wherever your data is, it's evolving into, for instance, you look at my click knows what I'm an expert in. My resume might not say that, my manager might not know that, but whatever conversations I've had over the years with my customers, with my colleagues, all of it is somewhere in there. Now this becomes a data warehouse, data lakehouse sort of thing. And then skills, an agent would need skills, and if you upload an image to an agent, the agent should be able to do an OCR and understand what that image is talking about. Right? So these are the AI capabilities that we've built over the years, and all of these are at an agent's disposal so that you could build complex use cases out of it. And finally, tools. Tools are where the actions happens. So there are APIs, there are flows, there is code execution, there is browser use, and so on. So broad collection of tools enabling multiple use cases. And this is where it gets interesting. Trust layer is often not spoken about very much. So your permissions, your policies, your audit trails, all of it. I mean, you cannot say an agent has changed my entire workflow, or an agent access data that it's not supposed to access. Right? So I cannot ask for my colleague's email summary or my colleague's click summary. So that should not happen. The permission layer is often underestimated. This is why Zoho directory becomes a key ingredient. Like I said, your reporting hierarchy. Right? Every part of your app should know who is my manager, who are the people reporting into me, what data do I have access to. I don't have access to my reportee's payroll, but I have access to my reportee's performance systems, right? Their appraisal systems, their HR management systems. The same way I cannot have my friend in other departments. I cannot have their HR appraisal information, right? So this becomes a key ingredient, and to get AI right, the permission layer becomes super important. So, and finally, the agent layer. Of course, it has some memory, it does some planning. I mean, I'm sure all of us use some consumer-grade LLMs. You would have seen the memory, reasoning, planning, and all that. So, we're looking at a multi-agent platform. It's in early access right now. We are opening up as we speak. If you're keen, please let us know. Stop by the AI booth, and we would be happy to put you in the early access waitlist. And by the end of the year, we plan to make it generally available. Right? So, of course, there's an agent studio where you saw Suvish doing a demo. Then there's an agent marketplace, because we believe LLMs are going to be horizontal, agents are going to be vertical. There is going to be a niche need for finance agents in UK, niche need for finance agents in Texas. So it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of niches that come to agents, so that's what we're planning to do. And several agents will be available out of the box. It's also a fast-changing reflection of technology. The last part of my presentation, I'm going to talk about the technology. And infrastructure and models are going to be Zoho's key differentiators. Let me explain. So if you see a typical competitor, they pay a huge chunk of their profits to compute providers. Increasingly, they are paying a huge chunk of their profits to LLM providers, to AI model providers. So we don't pay our profits to compute service providers because we run all our infrastructure. Same thing applies to AI. We're not going to pay a penny to LLM service providers. That way, we are able to keep the value that we are going to offer you intact. We have 16 data centers across the globe. We're building more as we speak. UK one is coming soon in 2026. We are working closely with various vendors. We recently had a partnership with NVIDIA. We recently announced it. Not recently, almost close to a year back. It's been 10 months. We work with them on an engineering basis. Sorry. And then let's talk about models. So we have close to 80 AI algorithms that are deployed. We are seeing 16 billion plus API calls per month across Zoho Corp. This data is up to June 2025. And it is a 50% increase year on year. And that means AI has moved from marketing to actual product usage, right? And customers are increasingly using AI across departments. Our strategy lies on this. We call it right-sizing models. You don't need an LLM to do anomaly detection. You don't need an LLM to do sentiment analysis. You could do with smaller bespoke models, right? The difference that LLM made to our system is LLMs can do everything. They can do translation, they can do voice to text, but there are certain cases, you're not going to plan a vacation in your CRM. You're not going to get a healthy eating chart out of your help desk, unless you are in that line of sales, but your domain is restricted, right? So we do bespoke AI models, all the 80 models that you saw, all of it is purpose-built, and they all feed into a broader LLM to set the context. So the key thing is the platform. Because we are able to see the complete customer lifecycle, because we are able to see the complete employee lifecycle, because we are able to see everything from your facilities management to your sales and marketing, all of the data is captured in the platform. That gives Zoho a unique advantage. The platform becomes the enabler to do all of this. Our search platform is the key element here, right? So whatever I could search, an agent that I build would only be able to access that. Like I said, I cannot ask for an email summary of my friend or a colleague, right? So because we have built this on top of search, we are able to offer much more privacy. Privacy first underpinnings. They are aware of individual boundaries. They are aware of org boundaries. So even by mistake, the individual context does not get spilled even though we work for the same company. So we have been building on top of self-hosted Llama and Mistral models. We've been productionizing it in the 3 to 32 billion parameter space. We are launching homegrown Zia LLM. Again, one of my job is to make sure this is not ChatGPT, but it is a part of an enterprise LLM where, remember the self-hosted LLMs you saw, Mistral, Llama, and the likes? Zia LLM will be a part of it. We are creating this in 3 flavors. The 1.3 version is not a distilled version of the 7 billion. So you see that a typical, for instance, your ChatGPT model's size runs into trillion parameters, 4 trillion parameters, 5 trillion parameters. These are in the order of billions because, like I said, there's a lot of context in your enterprise system. And there's a lot of truth, there's a lot of ground truth that you're building on top of it. So this is a purely business, an LLM optimized for business, LLM optimized for the enterprise, because a lot of times we are trying to fit consumer-grade LLMs into enterprise workflows. So we just launched it. We are slowly integrating it into our products. We spent a lot of time dogfooding this because we don't want it to say things that we don't want it to say. So again, a lot of legal and privacy regulations as well. We're slowly launching it across the globe. We launched this in July this year. And again, this gives us a deep technical know-how, edge in playing the long game. I mean, when I joined the company, I was super surprised to know that the company does not run on hyperscalers. But today, I'm able to look back and appreciate the value that we offer to customers. A lot of times I get asked, I mean, there are a ton of open source models out there. Why do you have to invest in your own foundational LLM? But it's a part of the long game. So this has been Zoho's AI platform. At the data center layer, we own, I mean, all geographies. Then there's a hardware layer which we control, which we work with the vendors, which we optimize specific hardware for specific use cases. For example, Zoho's AV stack heavily uses the FPGAs, which are purpose-built chips for our meeting workloads. Then there is an AI infra layer where you saw Zia LLM, you saw the MCP server, then you saw the AI bridge that decides, for instance, for all European languages, Mistral is better. For all China, Japan, and Korea languages, Gwen and DeepSeek are better. Again, this intelligence is built into the platform. And then on top of that, you have a low-code platform. You have your developer tooling where you talk about ZI Agent Studio, QuickML, AutoML, DSML. Again, all of these sprinkled across products. All my colleagues will be talking to you about this. And finally, the end-user layer where you can go customize and you can build on top of that. So long-term know-how, right-size models, and the platform brings great value to our customers. This is what we have been doing. So a quick 15, 20-second summary. Where do you start? Start with the most digitized departments. How do you do? Streamline your processes, streamline your data, invest in existing rule-based automation. What have we done? You saw some demos. We operate across the data center stack. We launched MCP server. We launched our own LLM. We launched an agent studio and an agent platform, which will be open to you very soon. Yeah, this is where we are with respect to AI. We also have a booth outside. Of course, every session will have some element of AI to it. These elements will be more closer to you, but this is more, behind the screens, and wanted to talk to you about how we are thinking about AI. That's it from me. Really appreciate your time. I'll be around. Thank you very much. The next session, we will have Ashwint here talking about our BI platform. It should start in the next 5 minutes. Really appreciate your attention again. Thank you very much. Thank you.